In 2020, we saw a lot of changes rolled out to LinkedIn. Obviously, many of them came about because of the way we're working due to what's happening in the world. But I'm interested to know what our predictions are for 2021. So I thought rather than just share my predictions, I would ask my LinkedIn expert friends for theirs.
Hey, I'm Teddy Burris, and my good friend Joe said, Teddy, why don't you use your crystal ball, here's my crystal ball, and tell us what you think LinkedIn's going to do in 2021 with the application.
Beth Granger here with some LinkedIn and social selling predictions for 2021.
Hi, I'm Mark Williams from the LinkedIn Forum podcast.
And this is Viveka Von Rosen, Chief Visibility Officer with Vengresso.
Sue Elson in Melbourne, Australia. LinkedIn Predictions 2021.
Thank you for the opportunity to give my two predictions for the future of LinkedIn.
Predictions for 2021, Nigel Cliff here.
With you three LinkedIn predictions.
I've got a cat.
Hi, this is Kenneth Lang from KML Consultants.
Hey, it's Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing. So predictions for LinkedIn for 2021.
Hello there, I'm Karen Hollenbach from Think Bespoke.
My LinkedIn predictions for 2021.
I highly recommend you connect to these very smart, intelligent and generous people. They've all got a level of expertise with LinkedIn. They all either train, consult, coach, mentor, create profiles for people, and are very generous on the LinkedIn platform.
So I have a whole list of things that I expect LinkedIn's going to do, but I'm going to drive it down to 3. Are you ready?
My LinkedIn prediction for 2021 is we're actually going to start doing better.
And these are my predictions for 2021.
This is as much my wish list for LinkedIn in 2021 as it is my predictions.
I think LinkedIn will continue to add new features that are part free and part have a paid component, kind of like the new product pages where I'm assuming they'll have some advertising attachments or components to it. So I think there will be more of that. Makes sense. They are a business.
Well, first of all, it's good to see the back of 2020. LinkedIn have made redundancies for the first time ever in their history. And whilst that hasn't really impacted 2020 in terms of new features, I suspect it might have a knock-on effect to 2021.
Number 1, dark mode. Look, they upgraded the interface and the application and the windows and it went bright white. Like, golly day, it's too bright. Look at Facebook. Facebook has dark mode. I'm going to look at this video. No, Facebook has dark mode. And now that I'm using it, I kind of like it. It's easier for me. Okay? And by the way, if you look at my glasses right now, this is not reflecting back as much. But if I turn on LinkedIn, boom, it's reflecting back in my glasses wicked-like. I think I'd like to see LinkedIn, and I expect them to see, and I hope to see them do it, turn on dark mode, or at least give us the opportunity to do that.
I think 21 will be the year when we start to see the impact of the new-ish CEO, Ryan Roslansky, who definitely has a more user-centric way of operating. And I think we'll see LinkedIn be much more open in terms of how they communicate with us as users, and also open to ideas as well. And we might start to see some changes that we've requested rather than ones that they want to implement onto us.
One of my predictions is to get more personal on LinkedIn. I've noticed certainly over the last 12 months that the content which is attractive to people is that which is personalised. It doesn't mean to say this is getting like Facebook, it's far from it. But in short, make your post personal, allow people to know the real you behind the facade that is a LinkedIn profile, and I think you'll get great more activity and more success.
I think LinkedIn fundamentally believes it is a social media platform. So given that, I think you'll continue to see some more social media-like behaviors on LinkedIn. So this year we saw LinkedIn stories. I think we'll continue to see an expansion of those sorts of features within the LinkedIn user experience.
My second prediction is in regards to the skills section and primarily endorsements. I've seen this, I'm sure you have too, but LinkedIn have steadily over the last 2 years have been accruing data on how we endorse one another, and in particular, they're testing the relationship between people who are, the endorser and the endorsee. So that testing is obviously going somewhere. I think they're going to beef up add credibility. Let's face it, there's not much currently attached to endorsements on LinkedIn. So that testing there's obviously a purpose behind that testing. So they're testing the strength of the relationship, the nature of the relationship, and to what extent you think somebody that you've endorsed has a particular skill, right? Are they very, very skilled at it, medium skilled, etc. So that's going to come to fruition. It's just a question of when. I imagine there's a good chance that might happen in 2021. So I expect to see a refreshed LinkedIn skills section, and in particular, the endorsements part of it.
Stories is obviously a new feature, relatively, and we'll start to see that developing more and more. I think now that most people have got it, we'll start to see them improving it and adding features to it. Maybe green screen, certainly better stickers and things of that nature. And I think it will thrive in 2021.
I think stories will either take off and be an amazing thing or completely die and they'll get rid of them. Not sure which yet. It's too soon.
I think that stories are going to become less popular because of the mid-roll ads that are going to start to roll out in the new year.
I think everyone is going to have to dive into using video more effectively. And fortunately, LinkedIn has provided us a lot of different features where we can use video. We're going to have to learn how to use the introduction correctly, how to use invitations correctly. And again, I think because we have been forced to, that a lot of individuals and a lot of companies are going to be doing a much better job of social selling.
Now, I predict that video introductions through messages is going to be part of the process. Now, you can now create an introduction video on your phone, save it to your camera roll, and share it via LinkedIn message. That's something you can do. You could create an intro message on an external tool and share the link. I predict that LinkedIn will have a feature within the app, within the mobile app, to record your little introduction or conversational video and apply some inbuilt features. In a similar way that we can do story videos and content videos, I think LinkedIn message video is the next thing to get enhanced.
I think we need to be good listeners on LinkedIn in 2021.
I think that articles are going to become more popular because of the boost they get through the newsletters feature.
If you go to your profile, go to your activity, click on articles, you've got an article feed which lists all your articles. Now, somehow organizing your articles into content so that you can display themes, a bit like YouTube has playlists. I'm predicting playlists of your articles, because as we publish more content, there's going to be a lot to see, and that feed that we have right now, it shows you the most recent, but sometimes the older content on a topic, you want to sort of group them together. So I think playlists for articles are coming.
LinkedIn Live might change, although I suspect not next year, maybe the year after. I think they'll probably take Live away from third-party providers and deliver it direct through the mobile app.
I also feel that LinkedIn itself, knowing how important it is in the social selling, virtual selling, remote selling ecosphere, that it will also start providing some new features for us, like we've already seen with the ability to launch a Zoom meeting right from your messaging. So
let's first talk about the company page experience. I think we're going to see increased functionality for admins. We've just recently seen the super admin feature pop up, and I think that's going to continue. I would really like to see notifications for company pages improve. So watch this space.
Well, at the top of my list would be company pages. I've noticed over the past 6 months, LinkedIn has slowly been making changes here and there to the company pages, the company page admin settings, and now we're allowed to invite more people to follow our page if you've been active as well. So my prediction is that pages are going to get increased visibility on the platform this year. So now's the time to start stepping up your efforts, posting, inviting people to follow your page, and then let's see what happens with the visibility throughout the year.
Company and school pages have seen continuous improvement, in particular the videos tab for natively uploaded videos, I definitely encourage you to use captions on those videos. But also, if the content is deemed good quality, there's a much greater likelihood of that appearing in the public news feed, and you can still have multiple admins on your company or school page. So therefore, you can get that extra support you need for your business through those admin roles.
And I think that company pages are going to get a bit more popular as well, because LinkedIn seems to be beefing up the options around those.
I think that pages will be brilliant, and I think Signal will make a comeback as well.
The events feature, I think, will continue to evolve. So again, we've seen a lot of changes in 2020 around that. I think the user experience will continue to improve, and the LinkedIn events function will also start to become a great sort of registration process, which we're starting to experience, but I think we'll get more and more of that.
Now, the other thing that I think will come is an integration with event ticketing tools. So I know right now with events, they've allowed us to collect email addresses on events, so we can register through LinkedIn directly, but that only works for free events. But if you're doing a ticketed event that requires a payment, either one of two things: they will provide us with a payment gateway, but also then we'll need fields to collect data that's relevant to our particular event, so custom fields, because you might want to ask them particular questions. Or alternatively, integration with tools like Eventbrite, Sticky Tickets, Ticketek. Ticketek, that's that's not a ticketing tool, but you know what I mean. Or my favorite, Humanitix, which is an Australian ticketing tool that I love. So I think that is where we're going, either that integration or a payment gateway.
LinkedIn do like to copy features from other social media platforms, particularly the Facebook group with Instagram as well. And both of those platforms have opened kind of shopping channels last year or in 2020. And maybe LinkedIn will be thinking about doing the same thing. Again, might not be next year, might be more like 2022. But I can see them going down that route. And of course, one change they've recently made is the reintroduction of products to company pages. And I think that could be a precursor to those product pages also being like shops where products can be sold. Obviously with LinkedIn finding a new revenue stream there by taking a cut. Whether it happens next year, again, doubtful in my opinion, but it could be a direction that they are starting to move towards.
To predict that we're going to see a lot more businesses leveraging their team members as brand ambassadors and leaders and experts in their field.
I think they'll let more and more people actually take advantage of hiring in terms of posting a job. They just launched the ability for people to create "we're hiring" on a status update, and I'd love to see that put out into a much larger audience. I think.
Better integration with more Microsoft products. So things like Microsoft Dynamics, customer relationship management offering from Microsoft, as LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, and I could see this potentially displacing Salesforce.com in the future. Big call, I know.
So years ago, I signed up with a CRM called Nimble. And one of the reasons was that LinkedIn direct messages would feed in to my Nimble CRM, so the contact record. So I could see that unified conversation across platforms. I predict that's coming back. I think the new CEO is going to be a little bit more with the times in terms of how we're using different platforms and how we want to cross the experience over, because we do have conversations in LinkedIn that cross into Facebook, that cross into Twitter, that cross into email. So I think they're going to relax a little bit more and allow the data to feed into approved CRMs such as Nimble. And there are a few others that I think will be part of it as well. But particularly, I mean, the Microsoft suite makes sense. But Nimble is a Microsoft partner. So I think people that are Microsoft partners or Google partners will get that sort of access.
I think LinkedIn's going to do something with groups. Matter of fact, I'm pretty certain they're going to do something with groups. But here's an idea that I hope that they consider in the context of groups. You ready? I hope they enable LinkedIn Live into groups. That'd be pretty cool. Now, they got to do some management there so we're not pushing a bunch of content into groups that aggravate people. And LinkedIn took away the ability to push external content into groups. But imagine if they said, okay, if you've been a member of the group for X number of months or years, if you're an admin or a manager or an owner of the group, then maybe give those folks the ability to do LinkedIn Live in the groups. That would be another way to rejuvenate groups, which I think they're trying to do, and make them more meaningful, useful, beneficial to group members. LinkedIn Live into groups.
Finally, LinkedIn groups, and this is probably mostly a wish rather than a prediction. I think that there's lots of opportunities for the LinkedIn group experience to improve, and I think a lot of lessons can be learned by the way Facebook runs groups.
Yeah, I think in 2021, LinkedIn groups will become enormous.
Now, I also agree that groups certainly will get more sort of attention this year. Now, I predict, like Teddy, that we'll have LinkedIn Live through groups so we can broadcast directly to the people in the group, which I think will be highly valuable. But I also predict that we will get events into groups as well. And I'm surprised they're not here yet, but just a better integration of building that group community, because groups and events go together so well.
Nurture your tribe. Connect with everybody. Doesn't matter how big you grow your network, just add everybody in. I don't think that's the case anymore. I really haven't thought it for a long time. My network is relatively small compared to many who do what I do, and the value of that network to me is huge. I think people are beginning to see through the clutter of adding many connections for no apparent reason. I think that nurturing a tribe of people who understand your value set and you understand theirs is of high value. And I think in 2021, we're going to see more people being a little bit more careful about who they connect with, and they're going to spend more time investing value, integrity, and trust in that network. I call it my tribe.
The future of LinkedIn is going to be networking, and taking advantage of job search and the latest strategies.
A constant tweaking of the LinkedIn algorithm to provide you with a greater user experience and keep you longer for every session. So there's newsletters coming, stories available on mobiles. There's lots of other things designed to encourage you to spend more time looking for information, getting referrals, doing business, all of those great things that LinkedIn is useful for.
I do think it's time that LinkedIn provides us with some better analytics, particularly on our profile. It's really minimal in terms of what we can see. We're going on surface value a lot of the time. We're looking at things like likes, number of comments, views, but those figures disappear. And we've got our social selling index, which is the score across our profile, but I think we're going to get some better logical metrics so that we can look back and see what was our most effective type of content, which was our most engaged post. Now, right now, many of us use a tool called Shield, which aggregates that data and gives us that intelligence. But I think that LinkedIn will start providing a little bit more of that in-house itself. And maybe they'll partner with Shield. Maybe Shield will become a tool that works in LinkedIn rather than outside of LinkedIn.
LinkedIn will do something new and go deep with LinkedIn hashtags. Right now, they're really quite dumb, relatively speaking. We only have, LinkedIn hashtag followers and search results wherever they've been used, and that just isn't enough to do anything meaningful with LinkedIn hashtags. So I'm thinking something along the lines of bit.ly, so bit.ly, where we can see how many times a link is clicked, but in this case a hashtag is clicked. So how frequently, perhaps we'll be able to see who the followers of certain hashtags are. And of course, it's not going to be simple because there are things that LinkedIn have to sort out. For example, if a custom hashtag has been created, how are you going to identify the owner? They're also pretty fugly, let's be honest. So they have to do something in terms of the visual appeal of hashtags. Right now, you have a scattering of official LinkedIn hashtags, and the only reason you know they're official is because LinkedIn has added a picture. So I think version 2.0 of LinkedIn hashtags is coming, and I think that would be pretty amazing. There's no doubt that LinkedIn is encouraging LinkedIn users to use hashtags in their content, and I think we'll see more of the data that LinkedIn is aggregating in regards to LinkedIn hashtags usage.
Hashtags. I think LinkedIn is considering doing something more of hashtags in here. It's a thought. Okay. Actually, I don't think that there is any notifications related to hashtags. I think LinkedIn needs to give us notifications about hashtags. Furthermore, they could create a page that's for hashtags. They could create a landing page, maybe sort of similar to what this looks like, and say, hey, Teddy, here's some new content. Let's go to recent. 48 minutes ago, Teddy, here's new content for the hashtag PSA. I think a newsletter, a digital newsletter, an email newsletter, or at the very least, put hashtag notifications so that I know what new content showed up for the hashtags that are important to me that I just forgot to go look to.
And my third one is LinkedIn video. So I don't particularly think LinkedIn has fully played to LinkedIn video. I think there's been some indicators recently that indicate that that's going to change. So, for example, having the video library available on some company pages. I think we're going to see more LinkedIn video and LinkedIn rewarding video more and more. And I think what that is going to mean is subsequently we're going to see a more structured and strategic approach to video, especially from corporates and commercial clients.
I think that more people will have their account restricted because of using automated tools that are not allowed. So not the tools like Agorapulse or Hootsuite to post content, but the tools that attempt to automate the relationship development. And as we all know, there are no shortcuts to relationships.
A tougher enforcement of the LinkedIn user agreement. You can no longer allow other people to sign into your account, either locally or internationally. You cannot use any form of automation, either human or technology-based. You can systemize things, but you need to do that yourself.
I agree with Sue. I think it's about time LinkedIn stepped up and managed their own user agreement. I think LinkedIn will look for things like the name breaches, where there's obvious things that in the name that aren't your name, like marketing taglines and that sort of thing. The other one is automation. Automation is a big one. It's definitely frowned upon. If you look at the details of the user agreement, there's a lot of things that actions that are repeated that they look out for. I think they will look at that a bit more intensely. But I also think that some of the features on offer through these automation tools, LinkedIn will bring into the platform. And I think that's a smart way of working, because we are looking to work smarter, not harder. And some of the features, people use them because they are actually allow you to work smarter. So I predict that LinkedIn will bring some of these features into the platform so that we can communicate personally, but based on behaviors or certain activities or actions and that sort of thing. So that's my prediction.
I'm kind of hoping that we're going to go back to having a more authentic connection and conversation with people. So my first prediction is that we'll move away from those spammy messages and more to really great, authentic communication with people.
We were unprepared for 2020. A lot of folks did not know how to deal with personal branding online, with virtual selling online, but we've all gotten a crash course in how to use socials to present ourselves and to create new relationships. So I think things are just going to get better for all of us.
And I think that any new feature that LinkedIn rolls out will have an early engagement boost. So whatever new feature you see, give it a try, because chances are you'll get enhanced visibility in the early months whenever that rolls out.
The most likely scenario is the reintroduction of old features that they've previously got rid of, much to our annoyance at the time. And this year we've seen the reintroduction of polls and the aforementioned product pages on company pages. And I suspect they may well do some more of that. That seems to be the direction that they're going in, bringing back an old feature and claiming it as new. But that could be quite exciting. There are some old features that I used to really enjoy, particularly for me, the Q&A, the questions and answers section. That was very, very popular and is ideally suited to LinkedIn. So I think that could come back in 2021.
An old feature I want to see back, and I think will come back, let's say, is the ability to organize our recommendations. We used to be able to have them underneath each role, and we could have a couple on display, and we could organize them and pick 2 for each role to be displayed immediately underneath role. Now they're just in a big bucket, and the most 2 recent show up. I think that LinkedIn will allow us to highlight the 2 that we show up. And I think they will become a bit more like the featured section, which will have that sort of carousel feel. And so I think then it would be 5 that we can carousel across, and the rest will show up that way. So I suspect or predict that will be a feature that will come back enhanced.
And maybe they might bring back reading list. I don't know if you remember that one a long time ago. There's an Amazon reading list where people could talk about books that they've read. Maybe, from a business book point of view, that might be an interesting area for them to bring back as well.
Now, one old feature, well, it's not that old actually, it was only taken away in August of last year. In fact, it was mid my event that the feature was disappearing. It's Nearby. Nearby allows you to connect to people in the room when you turn on the feature. I predict this is coming back this year. Now, I know around the world some places can't meet in person still because of COVID and all the restrictions, but for many of us who are able to manage things, we are. So I see that coming back.
Dark mode, LinkedIn Live into groups, and more information about hashtags that I'm following either through notifications or some kind of newsletter. Joe, those are my ideas. I hope LinkedIn's listening to me. I hope they call me and ask me for more details so I can give them more insights about why this is important to me. And I hope these ideas are useful to others.
So they're my predictions. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you, Joe, for the opportunity to share my predictions for 2021 for LinkedIn.
So I'm excited about what 2021 can.
Let's see if I'm right.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Soon. Thanks heaps. Bye.
There you go. There are my predictions for 2021. I'll be fascinated to hear what everyone else has got to say.
So thanks very much for watching my LinkedIn predictions video featuring some of my LinkedIn expert friends sharing their wisdom and insights. If you've got any questions, get in touch. As I mentioned, do connect and follow all of these fabulous people. Their links are in the blog. Find their name, click on it, and follow them on LinkedIn. Thanks very much for watching or reading, and I look forward to seeing these predictions come into fruition.